I studied under a streetlight. People laughed at me, said girls like me should clean floors, not chase dreams. But I didn't listen. Today, I stand in court as a lawyer. Welcome to Soul Speak Tales. As always, please write down the new words and their meanings and use them at least for 5 times. And do shadow practice to be more fluent in English speaking. So let's start. Don't forget to subscribe us. I wasn't born into comfort. My first memory is of hunger, not just for food, but for warmth, love, and safety. We lived in a small tin-roofed house beside the railway tracks. Rainwater would leak in, and the nights were cold. My mother worked as a domestic helper. My father, he left us when I was 5. I don't even remember the last time I saw his face. School was never a guarantee. I went when we could afford the uniform, or when the teacher wasn't asking for fees. But I loved books. I didn't understand them all, but they gave me a world where people survived, where justice meant something. I used to collect torn books from garbage bins and try to tape them back together. There was no electricity in our lane. So at night, I studied under a streetlight, sitting on the footpath. I still remember the smell of dust, the distant horns of trucks, the way people stared at me like I was strange for wanting to study. I wasn't strong. Not always. There were days when I cried myself to sleep, wondering why I was even trying. My friends dropped out. Some got married at 14. Others started working. I was told I was being stupid. Girls don't need education. Even my relatives laughed at me. But my mother, she never told me to stop. She had tired eyes, but whenever she looked at me, I saw a silent kind of hope. At 16, something happened that changed me. My uncle tried to marry me off to a man twice my age. He said, "It's time to stop being a burden." I ran away. Not from home, but from the idea that girls like me didn't have a choice. That day, I promised myself, if no one stands for me, I'll stand for myself. And one day, I'll stand for others too. That was the first time I said it aloud. I want to become a lawyer. I didn't even know what it really meant. I had never seen a courtroom. But I knew it had something to do with justice, with not letting people like me be silenced. I worked small jobs, cleaning, serving tea, typing notes for college students, whatever helped me stay in school. I failed once. I repeated a year. I was humiliated when I couldn't pay exam fees on time. But I didn't stop. Law school was a distant dream. When I finally got accepted into a small law college, I remember crying on the bus ride there. I was the poorest girl in my class. My shoes were torn. I didn't speak English. The others laughed at my accent. I was invisible, but I was watching. I was learning. I still studied under the streetlight sometimes, not because I had to, but because it reminded me of where I began. I read every case like it was written for me. Rape cases, child labor, dowry deaths, stories of girls who didn't survive, who didn't have a voice. I read them like prayers, like warnings, like fuel. Then came my first court visit. I was nervous. The lawyer I was interning with almost didn't take me seriously. But when I stood before the judge, holding a client's file, something inside me shifted. I wasn't scared. I belonged there, in that courtroom, with my voice shaking but steady, speaking for someone who had no one else. Years passed. I graduated. Today, when I wear my black lawyer's robe and stand in court, people see confidence. But beneath it is every tear I've cried, every evening I sat alone with books, every night I went to bed hungry, every insult I swallowed quietly. They don't know that the girl they see once studied under a streetlight. And I don't tell them. Because I don't need them to know my pain to respect my success. But I'm telling you this, because maybe someone out there, a girl sitting under a broken lamp, wondering if it's worth it, needs to hear that it is. You are not weak for crying. You are not foolish for dreaming. And no matter how small you feel now, one day, your voice will be heard. Just promise me this. Don't stop. Because sometimes, the ones who begin in silence become the loudest voice for justice.